Okay, we are
It's
live.
live. Yay!
We are, but I'm gonna see if it's showing on YouTube though.
We're
Let's see.
live streaming on something.
Yeah, you definitely are showing, but let me see.
Let me
Okay.
see.
Well,
Nobody
yeah,
has
yeah, we are.
chimed
We
in,
are.
so we can
Yeah.
just we
Yep.
can talk until people start chiming in because we're live and we don't have to record this or post this because we still have a whole um
We are. Yep. And we are.
episode
We
to
are
post.
live.
The we were being asked to go live again because a lot of people keep trying to catch us live. Ah,
Mhm.
look, somebody's on. And they can't seem to catch us live. So I wanted to kind of iron out all the little buggies.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yes. It's. Yeah. So we definitely live. We definitely good now. All right. That's good. You still doing your
I'm still doing my
few minutes
nails.
and stuff?
I have
I
this.
said, "Hey, y'all." I don't know who that is.
Who is it? The name
You can't see it. Yeah, it says Alf 734. Maybe
that
that's
is
Ashley.
Ashley. That
Yeah,
is Ashley. Yeah.
yeah.
So Ashley had a recommendation. I'm glad she joined us. She had a recommendation that we talk about.
Oh, she said it's Alex. It's Lex.
Oh, oh, okay, great. Well, at
Yeah,
least you
what's up with
know
the Alf thing? Yeah, she got to explain that to me one of these days.
Alexis. What's her last name again?
I don't remember.
Ooh, you
I
lose
don't.
points
No,
for
I
that
do know
because
this.
you
No,
know
she.
her better than I know her. Oh no, you
Yeah,
lose.
yeah, I do. I know
You're
her
gonna have to
well.
answer for that later. So,
Yeah.
but Ashley suggested that we talk about what it was like growing up in the 90s. How old are you, Jay?
Old,
Oh my
old,
goodness.
old. But I was teenager going into adulthood later on in the 90s. Yeah, later on, but I was a teenager in the beginning. Yeah, I was a teenager. Yeah,
So
and then
Jay is old enough that Jay does not want to reveal his age.
tell them to guess. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. But no, but that's a good topic because for me anyway, that was a time as a kid. Like, 'cause, yeah, I was a kid, young kid, going into what I'm saying, a whole different parts of life. You know what I'm saying? Kid, teenager, high school, and then college at the end. So yeah, so it was a time. So like for me, especially because that was kind of my coming of age type of thing, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So it was oh, she said that's her initials. She said, okay, we got you. I gotta get the F part though. You gotta let me know about that. But anyway, but yeah, getting back to that, it was a time, so I think for a lot of people, it don't even have to be the 90s, but when they come into that age, that teenager 13 to 20 or that time frame is important.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff happened in the 90s for me, you know what I'm saying, as far as music. That's when I really started, like, really. So when I hear music, it brings me back to that time,
Oh,
like
I
certain stuff.
love the. Oh my God. I
Yeah,
think I was
90s
too
music.
young to sing half of the stuff I was singing.
Yeah,
There ain't no reason that myself should have been out there singing "Creep" by TLC. There ain't no
I
reason
know.
that should.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
but that's the thing too. But the thing is, you don't know what you singing, or you don't really know what they're
My body,
talking about.
let me tell you, my body felt every word. I used to
Well,
dance like a
not
motherfucker.
me. I
That
wasn't even.
entire CD had me on lock.
No, I didn't put two and two together because, again, some of, like I said, I was young, and like my favorite group, for instance, was SWV, and
Ah, yes.
at that time they made a song called Downtown. I didn't have no clue what that meant. Or even Ali's song, Rock the Boat.
Uh
I didn't
huh.
know that's all sexual stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
know.
and at that time, I was thinking like, oh, this song is nice. Let me, and didn't know what they were talking about. But again, that was like the best time for music.
How old was I when Rock the Boat came out? I think I
Oh, that
was.
was in '99. That was in '99. So Yeah, you
Rock the Boat
probably.
came out in 99?
I believe so. Yeah, because I do remember listening to that song before I went to the Air Force. I went to the Air Force 2002, and it was like a little before 9/11. Because remember when she passed, maybe it was 2001, because she passed right before 9/11. I believe. I believe it was like right before 9/11.
2001.
I think so. It's probably 2001. I want to say
So
when she
I was
passed.
in
But that song, I think,
10th
was,
grade.
huh?
I was in 10th grade,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I'm
So
doing
that
my
was,
math correctly.
yeah. So it was, yeah, that was,
I was a
so,
freshman during 2001. Yeah, 10th, 11th grade.
yeah. So you pretty much know how the 90s went down because you was old enough to figure out certain things. And then the 90s too was so
I was
interesting.
sheltered though. I was very sheltered.
Even if you was, put it this way, like, because you got to remember too, the
I
internet
wasn't
started.
sheltered when it came to music. I was very cultured when it came to music, but I was sheltered when it came to culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but even if you was sheltered, let's just say you was
But
somebody else
music
like
was
in a bubble. If you was somebody in a bubble and you just in your house and you just watch TV or something like that, just from TV alone and seeing how the evolution of the internet, for instance, the internet started coming and becoming really big time from like 95 to 2000-ish. It
yeah.
was crazy how things went about during that time.
Yeah, but I
And
could only get access to the internet in the school library
no,
until
I
college.
think I had internet. It was like the dial-up. I had internet in dial-up. It was like probably 98. It was 98, yeah, and I was kind of in college, yeah, just going to college or something like that. And then I remember using it in college to study, and it was just so amazing to me. And I would be trapped in the library and doing certain things for like, for hours because I was intrigued by it. I was able to talk to people on the internet. That's why I'm saying it was so much of it was so much for me growing up in that time that was different. Everything started changing. 98, I think that was the year. 98 is when everything was different. Music, it was the internet, even schools, because I remember too thinking about I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So I was figuring out in college, like, should I be engineer? Should I do this? Should I do that? And then I started realizing I got a degree, associate. So I thought I was big time. And then you realize at this time, since the internet came about, associate's degree and certain things that you did in school started becoming irrelevant because everybody started doing it at this point.
Now your entire degree seems to be irrelevant.
That's what I'm saying. But in the 90s, in the early 90s, for instance, if you went to college, that was a huge deal. That was like,
yeah,
you
absolutely
was smart. And it was big because nobody, like in my family, I think only my mother maybe or somebody else, I don't even know, had a college degree, and it was associates.
It was a big deal.
It was.
It was a big deal, yeah.
It was. And then, but yeah, the 90s was different. But getting back to now, it's like so night and day. And it's like so the evolution of time. It's just crazy how much stuff changed. Look at AI. Look at this. It's like crazy. I would have never imagined stuff like this happening now in the 90s. Like I couldn't even see the stuff that's happening right now. I couldn't envision all that. I would have never imagined, So yeah, times has definitely changed. It's definitely changed.
It feels like a different lifetime, doesn't it?
It does.
When you think about it, it's like, how they talk about you, like, quote unquote, you jumping timelines, and it's almost like you jumped into a completely different timeline and a completely different life and a completely different experience, and your childhood was like a movie that you dreamt about one day.
But but the times now, even though it seems like it's so, the evolution of it, everything seems so great. It's still some things that, and I probably sound like the old man, get off my lawn. I said like the old days were so great, but it's just now, it's a lot of stuff now that I'm kind of glad I didn't grow up in. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the 90s and it was so much better with certain things that I feel sorry for kids now. I feel sorry because
Well,
of
they
kids
are
growing
so
up in these times now.
desensitized and like
Yeah, it's a lot going on. It's like, man, I would not want to grow up in what's going on right now. It's just a lot happening that, I feel sorry for people. Um, it's a
but I
lot
will tell
harder.
you one thing that is going on, and then we'll transition because it's perfect thing is it is getting easier to build credit from gate because now, so let me tell you what happened. My kids, as they started getting jobs, because your kids don't always listen to you, so they dropped the ball on a couple of things that I was
Of
trying to give
course.
them advice on. But as they started getting jobs, one thing that they did great was they signed up for a Chime account. I don't know if you know what Chime is.
Yeah, it's like a bank account or something like that. Some of my
It's like it's kind of
drivers.
like it's like a upgraded version of Cash App because Cash App is a bank account too,
Yeah.
but Chime um reports to your credit. Now, Cash App has started to do that, but Chime was like the original.
Mm-hmm.
You just need direct deposit and it reports it as a credit card. So every time you use your card, it reports as you have like a 900 whatever dollar balance and that you've paid that balance off throughout the month. So it by the time my kids moved out of the house, they each had like almost 800 credit score just from being employed because they were getting direct deposit and using this card.
But if they're not taught how to use it properly, wouldn't they be irresponsible enough to make some big mistakes that could really cost you in the long run? You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not really
Absolutely.
taught the right way to, you know,
And it's
invest,
wild that
save,
finance is something that it's a prerequisite. It's something that you have to ask to take on top of.
yeah, which
But
is not.
also at the same time, does this fall is this like one of those gray areas? Does this fall under the responsibility of the state and the educational system? Or
Yeah.
does this fall under the responsibility of the family and the
No, it
parents?
should be in school. No, it should be taught in school because a lot of times the family don't even know how to explain it or do what they're supposed to do because they grew up a certain way. So
Yeah,
they don't even know, especially if, like, for instance, you got parents that never owned a home, they rent. So it's hard to explain to their kids, how do you go about owning a home or doing the right things financially to get yourself set up? How do
right.
you build credit when they in bad credit situations? So a lot of parents can't really educate their kids the right way because they're in a bad situation. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's hard because if you how are you going to teach somebody when you don't even know the right things or how to do stuff the right way financially? So I think it should be in school. You know what I'm saying? It should be in
Right.
school, maybe junior, senior year, um, and kind of explain it to them. They still probably won't even understand really in high school, but when they get out, it'll probably come. I think it will come to them now through
I
the story.
think that somehow, I think that the education system would benefit from tremendously from um, very active parents and the
Yeah.
parents and the school systems, the local school systems working together because you could do something like have a, an extracurricular course that the child's parents attend to, something after school
Yeah.
hours or so on and so forth, like because then the parents could be right alongside with the education of the child when it comes to very
Mhm.
important matter that parents should be involved in when it comes to raising their children. You should be involved in teaching them financial responsibility. So it's important for them to be involved in all the influences that come with that. And I think that having a community that kind of works together is like super important when it comes to that, if it's going to be like that way. And you're talking about a
Yeah.
well rounded, like,
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah. But the the thing too is I feel like some of these schools and some people underestimate our kids, like teenagers and stuff like that, like in high school.
Yeah.
So they don't really want to get into it, I guess, because they probably like they're too young for this. They don't understand. Let's not really get into that. But what they don't understand is once you graduate high school, you like really into the real world. You know, I remember when I went to college, my first freshman year, they started making people sign. Well, not making people, but they had people in the front of the school making you sign up for credit cards. It was like, this is the best thing for you.
Oh, that was the dumbest thing I ever did.
Yeah, and the thing, I'm 18. So I'm 18. So I just probably 2 or 3 months ago graduated from high school. So that right there started off everything when it came to bad credit.
I'm 18 and I came from a financially poor family, and you just approved me for a $3,500 Sears credit card.
And I got approved right away because at this time I didn't really have debt. So it was like, oh, he's approved. He got no debt.
They based it off of no debt and a zero credit. Yeah,
exactly. And I had no education. I'm sitting there like you said, free money. Oh, this is, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna be able to pay this back. I'm gonna graduate college. I'll pay this back when I'm finished. I'll be all right. And then life happens, and it's like, no, I can't pay that back. I don't got a job yet. It's a
and the fine print of the APR becomes a big deal. Like what? How come I'm paying all these payments and my credit card limit isn't going up, or it's not chipping away at my balance and what I owe? Because
you got the interest, which you don't think about. Yeah, you got the interest you got to pay that you ain't thinking about. And then you ain't thinking about the fact that once you don't pay, how your score goes down. And you don't understand the effects of having a low credit score is because you don't have the education. You wasn't taught. You don't know. So, and then, another thing too is a lot of younger people feel invincible. They're like, I'm fine. I'll get it. They too cocky. And a lot of times they don't look at, and another thing too, they live for the moment. I want to get these nice sneakers and these nice shoes and this nice outfit for today. I don't care about a year from now when this is going to affect. Like, you ain't thinking about that.
Yeah.
You think about the now. And that's why it's important to, educate kids, especially in high school, of what can happen with that. But, at the same time, too, I do think, I don't know, I think a credit card, you could probably give a kid, but educate them first. Like, they need to know what they're doing.
What you can do is you can make your child an authorized user on your card, on your credit card, and it sends them a card in their name, and it attaches. There are so many ways to create generational wealth within your family. You can take your name, your personal name, and create an LLC. So now you're a company entity outside of yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if anybody tries, if you sign any legal documents, you sign it under your LLC. If you buy vehicles, you buy it under your LLC, and then you can claim all of that stuff on your taxes. And then on top of that, and of course, people watch everything and then they criticize everything if you don't go into details. So disclaimer, there are more to the details than what I'm saying. I'm just broadly skipping over it. But you can employ your children and pay them a certain amount a month. And so everything works and this is what all of the capitalist people are doing, because that's how our country works. It's a capitalist country. So you benefit from it, and you utilize and how to properly utilize your credit,
But
that's important too.
But that is what on top of that too is there's people that gotta learn how to, I don't want to say math, but budget properly, and then live within their means. So if you have, let's just say you have a couple of kids and stuff like that, you can't be thinking about, I want to buy this new BMW tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because I have the money. I have my money in my account. Let me buy this BMW. Because you're going to have payments. Things going to break down. Your kids are going to start growing up. They're going to need more stuff. People got to understand, the financial responsibility of certain decisions they make. So that's another thing people got to understand. It's like, do you think you can afford this when you got this going on? You know what I'm saying? People gotta understand like
Oh
this.
yeah, because sometimes a parent will become very resentful very quickly over their children because they can't financially afford. Like for example, somebody without children, is going to be able to afford a
Yeah.
better car than somebody like me with 6 children. You know, it's
Well,
just
yeah. I always forget that. I always forget you have
I got a
6.
bunch of children.
Yeah, I'll be forgetting now. But
I'm
you
trying.
know, you making it happen. So
I'm just over here trying to repopulate the earth.
yeah, 6. Woo. You making it happen. Though. But no, but yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Some people don't understand that you got a responsibility here, so you got to take care of that first. That's the most important thing, and then you could probably get the stuff later if you save up and do the right things. But you know,
I
a
don't know.
lot of
I was
people
a wild
don't do that.
person. I was a very wild person. I always found a way to make more money, so I've never really thought about spending money. Like I was dating a guy once who still owes me like $6,000 because I was paying his bills because he wasn't working, and just so I could go hang out with him because he was cool to be around.
Yeah, and that's where things can go spiral. Um, and then by
Well,
the
yeah,
time
if you're not somebody who's willing to go out and replace that money, I was always somebody who was willing to go out and like
yeah, but everybody don't have that skill, to be able to do that, because it's not easy. It's not easy. And then you have to be able to be disciplined to be like, I messed up here, you know what I'm saying? Let me fix it. And then I can't do what I was doing 2 years ago or a year ago. Some people don't have the discipline. Like for instance, let's just say you have a good job, right? And the job is paying well. And then God forbid, whoever it is loses their job. They get a job that's paying lower. They have to understand, have discipline enough to be like, well, I was making this time, so I can't do what I did 2 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? I have to do something different. And some people don't know how to do that. They can't say, all right, let me downgrade a little bit and go from here to here. They just like, no, I want to stay the same. And you can't because, financial situation is different. It's different.
well, you
You
should
know,
also talk about what it's like to go from drastic changes because there
yeah,
is like there's growing pains both ways. There's growing pains to go from somebody who's used to being
but
financially poor to being somebody who has more because you want to feed that urge, that little kid that always wanted
but
the stuff that everybody else had.
but that comes with maturity too. There's
Yeah.
some people that's just not mature enough to understand that and figure it out and do it. So for me, for instance, like just recently, I retired, right? So when I retired from the Air Force, a lot of people that retire, they're lost because they've been doing it for a long time and they don't understand. You got to budget differently. You have to prepare. You have to be mature enough to be like, all right, well, I was in the Air Force or the Army or whatever it was, and I was able to do this. Now I'm in the civilian world. I can't do what I did before. And
Yeah.
then they try to get a job and they don't know how to navigate because you've been working doing this for so long and now you got to do something different. They're not going to be able to get certain jobs that they probably think they qualify for. I
Right.
know people that's was in the Air Force and that was fixing planes. Now they trying to do a job where it's accounting. It's going to be hard for them. And then you got to realize you have to financially be disciplined and be mature. And a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah, because
But
there's a lot of well, I don't know if there's a lot of financial perks that come with being in active duty versus being
it,
I've never been in the military.
it's so when you active duty, you get a check the first and the 15th. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You used to that. You know what you got a budget for, like you disciplined, you know what to do. But then when you
Yeah,
get out, you're gonna make dramatically less money. You know what I'm saying? So you have to adjust. And not only that, it's gonna take you some time to find a job. You know what I'm saying? Because you might have to work still. It's
right.
gonna take you some time. Even me, it took a little longer than I expected because I had decided I wanted to do one thing, and then I said, "Yeah, this ain't gonna work. I'm not gonna do that."
Right.
But the good thing with me is before I retired, that's why I'm saying maturity comes into place. I knew I got to save up a little bit because when I get out, I know I'm gonna be not working for a little bit. So when I deployed, and that's the time, that's when I got sick. I got sick and I deployed, and I was like, I only had 2 years. I had like 2 years left because 2020.
That was like when you were on your deathbed in the hospital.
Exactly.
Right?
But I was deployed at that time. But at that time, I was saving up because I knew I was going to retire within a year or two. So at that time, I saved up. Now, let's say I wasn't mature enough to do that. If I would have got out, I would have been stuck because I didn't get a job for like a couple of months after I retired. I would have been really in trouble because I would have retired, and then there was like 4 or 5, probably 5 or 6 months period. I didn't have no job or nothing, and I would have been in trouble. And I didn't have, all I had in my retirement, which isn't that much. But like I said, the maturity came into play, and I saved up. I had money, and then I did certain things on the side. I did the drone stuff because I just started learning how to do my drone.
Right. I remember.
So I started getting jobs for doing drones. So that kind of gave me income. And then I did other things that, kind of helped me. But a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that, skill or certain things you can do that can help you get, financially stable. But yeah, it's a whole thing.
I think from having early stage survival mentality, that because I was just like in the beginning stages of college when I got pregnant with my son. And I was like, I never wanted to have kids because I never thought I was going to be a good mom. So I was like, content. I was totally content on it. I was totally good with it. I was like, I'll just be the cool aunt that comes in. I'll become a trauma surgeon. I'd been wanting to be a trauma surgeon since I was in like 5th grade. And I always wanted to live in New York City, and that was my dream. And from the time I was a freshman in high school, there were 12 different universities that had reached out to me wanting me to go there and attend their university. And I had decided to go to St. Louis, but my dad talked me into going to a local university in Michigan so that I wasn't too far from him. And I quit. I just quit. I had a full ride. Hey.
No, I just did that. I didn't even know I could do that. I just did that.
I had a full ride, and I quit school because I don't know why. I just really don't. I wasn't into it. I was done. There was just a lot of things that were happening that I was like over it. And
so here's my theory, right? I know I say this all the time, and it's going to be contradictory, but I'm going to just say this. Like for me, I'm not really big on money. Like money don't really change me or how I, but money is important because it gives you freedom. So now, fortunately for me, I'm doing really well. Like, I'm making pretty good money. I'm doing good. So now I can get stuff and do certain things that I couldn't before, which is good. But I don't, what I'm saying? It's not something like, I have to make this money or else. I'm not one of the people
money or financial gain is what rules this world. However, I have a moral compass. There are things
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah. Like I'm not going to sit here and do anything for money. No.
Yes.
That was something that I decided a long time ago.
And there's some people that will do anything for it. And that's what I'm saying. That's why the one thing about me is I'm one of the people that turn their money in a heartbeat. I don't care how much it is if I don't feel it's the right thing for me, or if it's too much. There's certain times where I'm like, you know what, it's good money, but I don't feel like it right now. You know what I'm saying?
How much money I could make? You know how much money I could make selling my feet online? Do you know how much money I could make?
If you ever do that, I could be a manager. I could be a manager.
Fine.
I know. I believe you. Yeah, you're right. You definitely could. You definitely, and you don't have to even do nothing but just take a picture. Yeah, that's. I've thought of that. Like I'm thinking of that. I'm like, why are these females putting pictures up on the internet on Facebook of their feet. And do they realize how much money they can make? You know, I always be thinking to myself, because I always think, even though, like I said, money's not a big deal to me, I always think when I see certain things that people can profit off of, I always wonder, I'm like, why don't they do that to make money instead of doing that? You know what I'm saying? For like doing it for free. It just made no sense.
Fear of failure or fear of not being widely accepted, depending on what it is that they could be making money off of. But most of the time, fear of failure prevents people from doing a lot of things.
But also it could be smart too, because this is what I think about too in business. Right? I just learned this probably a year ago, and I think this works. So if you're doing a business, for instance, I know a lot of people want to sell stuff, right? They want to sell stuff to make money. I feel, this is what I think. This is just me. Give it for free. Get those people to want it more, and then that's when you charge. Because the thing about it is, for me, for instance, I'm not paying for stuff that I know is not simple. And I feel like,
let's admit to the world that I'm a drug dealer without telling people. I'm joking.
No, I know.
That sounds like every crackhead dealer.
No. Okay, so I'm gonna give an example of what I'm doing.
I know they'll come back for more.
That's what they do, but it does work. So, for instance, like when I do my video stuff, film stuff, right? And I decided, like probably a year or two ago, that I'll do something for somebody that I see has potential for free. I'm not going to charge them. You know what I'm saying? Because our people don't have money, they struggling or whatever. So Ashley, I wish she was on here. Ashley, and you probably seen it, she works with this singer, right? She's really talented. Oh my goodness, she's so talented. So I'm getting her in my film. I got to talk to her from looking at Ashley's page. And I'm a do her video. I'm gonna do this. I'll put this on here. That's what Alexa said. Not the free. Yes,
you don't get a
trial.
And I'm a free trial. You don't get free trial feet.
This ties into what I'm saying.
You get the big toe, and for a little bit extra, I'll wiggle the pinky toe for you.
That's what she's saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, foot.
You show them, you give it for free, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, I want more." And that's when you hit them with the feet. You know, with the feet. No, but getting back to the singer, I'm going to do. I'm sorry. My brain went all the way back to Joker's Wild Days and Andres, and I'm. Listen, it works. I'm telling you.
We can't go down that road because a lot of people won't understand.
She gave me some good ideas just now. No, but you give them the free, and you give them want more. And they're like, oh man, I got to see more. But we're getting back to the singer. I'm gonna do her thing for free. Like I'm gonna do her video, all of that, and I'm gonna put it in my portfolio, and then show people this is my work. You know, so the point I'm making is sometimes you do the free stuff, give it away, and then you get the demand going.
Well, that works. That works in your world because
the money,
entertainment and networking is very important. Very important. But when you're living in a product world and you're trying to sell your product, it doesn't necessarily work because you've got to factor in the product cost. So you can't really give it away for free because then you're not making profit. You're losing profit. And startup costs for business automatically causes you to lose profit within the first 3 to 4 years. You're losing more than you're gaining when you first start up a business. So if you're initially trying to do that, you don't want to give something away for free. So I was lucky enough when I left school, I became a telemarketer and I'm really good at talking. So the owner of the company used to randomly listen in. He would come in and he would randomly listen in on people's conversations. And there was a conversation that was had, and I won't go into details because it was something that was said to me from the other end that was provocative, and it was just the way I responded that made the owner laugh. And he pulled me off the sales floor, and he wanted to promote me almost immediately. Within a couple of years, I became his business manager. So I worked directly under him in advertising and marketing. What happened?
But that's what I'm saying. But see, he was able to use you. Y'all can use each other. So he could do stuff for free. You can do the thing for free. Like he believed in you. That's what I'm going. If I believe in you, and let's just say, like I said, I know that you got the talent, I'm going to work for you for free.
It's an investment.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's an investment because in the long run, when people and like this, for instance, and I'm thinking too, even long term, I'm thinking like, all right, when this person gets famous, I can be like, look, this is what I did. I did this for her. You know what I'm saying? Before she got big, and they're like, oh, you worked for such and such. That gives you some cachet.
Her being a
she's local and she's a singer. She's not big yet.
What I would do though is I would draft up a release, because if she does become it's well known or anything, and you try to release any work that has her image, she needs to release that image to you before you put it in your portfolio, just to protect yourself legally.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, some of that is definitely going to be worked into it. And then the thing about it is, you know, I'm going to do it before. Right now, how can I put it? Right now, she's just starting, right? She's just starting. And the thing is, we're going to work together. So I'm going to need her to sign some stuff anyway. So we're going to be doing some things together anyway on film. The thing is, we're going to do a film together. I'm doing like a musical type of thing with her and this rapper. And then I just thought about the fact that she did a video. Ashley did a video. You've probably seen it because Ashley puts it all over her page. So she did a video for her, and it's out there. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can do one too. And then knowing how the potential that she has when she get, like I said, I can have that on my portfolio. And I think the releasing, like you're saying, that makes sense. And that's going to be kind of roped into all other stuff. I have anything with contract with her for the film and all this other stuff. So that's going to be roped into all that.
That's just something that'll come in handy later down the road. Something they just build it in to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't think about the legalities of the situation.
Yeah. And then on my drone stuff, when I first started doing my drone thing, what I did was I went to all these realtors, right? And I gave my card. And I told one of them, I said, I'll do it for free because I didn't have no work to show people. And once I did the work for this realtor and I put it out there, I started getting hired by a bunch of people. They see my name on it's like this drone database, and it shows who has licenses and stuff like that. And once I showed my work, it got me more work. And then, it started becoming easier. But it started because I started doing it for free for people. And then it got my portfolio and it got me to get some example work, because people are not really, the thing about it is a lot of people are not going to take a chance on you without a resume or a portfolio or something. They're not going to do that. And
you should also add the opportunity of working with construction companies.
Yes. Yep. And that's what I did. Yeah. Because basically what happened was the first one that hired me, he was building something in Rehoboth Beach, where Delaware Beach is, and he wanted me to take some drone shots of the area so he could pinpoint where he's going to put it at. And then he actually did some 3D imaging to show how the building will look from that drone shots that I was getting. And I got paid like $600 for like a 5-minute job. So, it started getting my portfolio. Then I had more work. And then I said, let me work on video stuff for films, for music videos. So I had artists hiring me. But it started from doing that free work for that realtor. And I started realizing now what I'm doing now is different. If I see potential in you, I'm going to present myself and say, look, I did this. Let me do your video. I think I could do a great job. I can hook you up. I'll show you my work. And then, a lot of them be like, oh, for free? Oh, they're going to be all over that.
That's kind of how I used to get contracts, because I had started my own company doing marketing advertising and business management for small businesses. So I would go in and I would sit down with the owner and I would have my portfolio. And what I had was different contract prices and different contract lengths. My longest length being a 6-month contract. And this is what you get me for as an overall salary basis. And this is what I'll do for your company during that time frame. And then after my 6 months is done, I hand everything that I've done for your company. Once I've gotten your social media platform going and so on and so forth, I hand that all over to you, contracts over, and I walk away.
Yeah. And you know what? Another thing too is what people don't. That's why a lot of businesses fail. And I'm not saying I'm great in business. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying a lot of people businesses fail because their business model. Because here's another thing I've learned too is marketing, networking, all of that comes into play. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to network. Like you got to be able to, speak to the people, sell your stuff, and then you have to market it properly. Because if you don't, and let's just say you working for this one person and nobody knows you, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to put yourself out there. And I tell my friend this all the time. I have a friend in California, right? And he does drone stuff too. But he hates social media. Even when I put a picture up of him, and like I had a picture because we grew up together of him, me and him was hanging out. He got pissed. So he's horrible when I don't want to say horrible because I don't want to put him out there like that, but he doesn't like social media at all. And for business purposes, you can't, it's hard for you to be that way and expect to have good business. I mean, you could probably do it, but it's going to be tough because social media is where you can network, where you can kind of put your stuff out there. And then there's certain platforms like TikTok and Instagram that can really put you on the map.
You could still do a lot just by
you can. I think it'll be a little bit harder because
it's a lot of footwork. It is. Oh my goodness, it's a lot of footwork. You have to get out there and you have to. It's instead of being able to email somebody, but also at the same time, it makes it a lot more personable too because you're going with your portfolio and you're shaking the hands of business owners like they're getting to see you, and it's like an energetic exchange. So sometimes that matters.
Yeah, but networking is, and you know what I do? I have a secret to my thing too. So another thing I do is like, say if I'm on TikTok or something, a lot of times it don't work because these people are so cocky and I don't know, they kind of like too into themselves. But if I know there's a popular person, right? They got a whole bunch of followers. I'll try to reach out to them, and not because I want to get like them and got a lot of followers. I don't really want that. I want to be like in the background. However, them putting it out there can bring up my platform. So for instance, I have an actress from my old movie that has 1 million followers on TikTok. Once she puts that up, the trailer for this movie, that marketing is like priceless because everybody on her platform, because she has 1 million followers, will see that and they're interested in her. So she's like big time now. She actually has an advertising company. She got all kind of stuff. I learned a lot of business from her, but her following alone is going to make this thing blow up once it comes out because she has, that networking. And I did that on purpose. I seen that she had a big following and I'm thinking like, she going to ignore me. I don't want to say fond of me, but she was like, all right, I trust you. I like what you're doing. Let's work together.
Right.
And then that's what I feel like a lot of times that can help. If you get with somebody that kind of is not big, but kind of has a following, that helps. You know what I'm saying? Right. That really helps. So marketing is really important, and networking and knowing how to get people to trust you too. Because there's some people that turn you down if they don't believe in you. And luckily for me, I don't know why, but I could get people to trust me and they kind of like have a liking to me, and I can get them to kind of help me out or, get involved in stuff that I'm doing.
Right.
And that's hard to do. It's hard to get people to believe in you, give their time, support, and stuff like that. That's the hardest thing to do. That's why I think social media is very important because you can kind of gain their trust from it. Like, let me talk to you. Let me show you stuff. Let me prove it to you. And I was able to do that from talking to people on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and get that relationship going. But yeah, and
Well,
that's the
I mean,
thing. That
internet
goes back to the
relationships are
'90s.
a big deal. They're just as important as in-person relationships. I met you on the internet, like,
Yes, yes,
but
and then yeah,
I'm
and
just at the
then
point where I don't have to, like, I'm grateful that I can work within my purpose on my own time, and I don't have to worry about bringing in money, and that falls on
yes,
my husband. And I'm grateful for a man that's willing to do that for me, because what it feels like to come up out of the workforce as a woman who used to have to work her butt off all the time is just astronomical. It's just like this big weight that comes off of you.
yeah, and
And
that's
um
good.
so I'm grateful for that, and I want this next period of my life to move in essence with my spirit and my purpose with my spirit. And I know that that sounds hippy dippy. So I'm constantly saying to myself, like, in this era of, even though my business was social media marketing based, and I can do that, and I am monetized on Facebook and so on and so forth, I I don't want to move that's not in alignment with my spirit anymore.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't want to post for aesthetic in order to gain followers for a
yeah.
monetary value. And I'm
Oh yeah, me
blessed
either.
that I get that opportunity to do that. I get to be able to speak and chill and vibe from a place of I'm protected. And I'm blessed that I get to do that. So
Yeah,
not everybody
yeah.
gets to do
Yeah.
that.
And that's I feel the same way. I feel I'm blessed enough to where I don't have to do stuff for money anymore. Like I'm pretty comfortable now. So a lot of stuff that I do now is because I enjoy it. It's not about the money. Like there's certain projects I'm doing right now, and that's crazy because I'll be in these groups like the films I'm doing, and they always looking at the charts to try to figure out how much they make and for views and all that. I don't even know. I don't look at views, how much I made, and I think from the movie that I got out right now, I get money based on how many views I get, and I don't even pay attention to that. I just
Right.
like putting stuff out. I don't even look. I don't. I know I made money, but I didn't look at the graph within the last month or two.
I
Um,
just I'm grateful. My husband was just like, "Babe, go out there, do your thing." Like, I just
yeah,
started a local co-op for moms with toddlers and whatnot.
you
There's
did.
like, yeah, there's like 16 moms in my little local co-op that I started.
Yeah, and see, and you ain't thinking about okay. Let me figure out how you probably are, but like you ain't like obsessed with oh how much money I can make when they get these co-ops or whatever. Like you ain't on it
There's no
like that.
money involved. There's no money involved. All it is, hey guys, here's a support system. Let's meet up
See, and
and
that's
join
good.
our kids together. Hey
A
guys, you
lot
need
of
me to
people.
come over and watch your kids while you take a nap? I don't mind doing that.
A
Like,
lot of people ain't thinking that way. They're thinking about, oh, how much money I'm going to make off of this. You know what I'm
right.
saying? That's how some people think. And it's fine, because some people, they got to make a living and they doing what they got to do. But, sometimes that doesn't always work because when you're thinking about the money all the time and you're doing all of this stuff, a lot of times you're going to be missing something that's important. Like I said, the marketing part of it is important. So if you're trying to sell something and that's all you're thinking about is the money, people are not going to trust you. They're going to be like, you're going to give me a bad product. You just doing this for money. And me personally, if I know that's all you're thinking about, I'm going to be skeptical. I'm going to be like, I don't know if I want to work with you because you might be trying to screw
Dangerous.
me
It's
over
also a
because you want money.
dangerous. It's a dangerous line and a dangerous road to be doing it for attention too. Like
Yeah.
for personal status, like mental status. Like, I just want to
So,
get noticed, and I just want people to. And
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's very, so my realm, like your productions, so it's a little bit more black and white for you than it
Mhm.
is for a spiritual coach, spiritual
Mhm.
consultant, somebody who leads people in the spiritual world and guides them in that aspect. because it's very easy for someone in my position to do it for self-glorification.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it's really easy for me to sit here and tap into all of my spiritual gifts and tell you all the things that you want to know about yourself and your future and the things that you hide deep within your soul that you don't tell nobody. And
You
it's easy for me to do that and be like, yes, I did that. I helped you.
so I
Now,
got a question for you. I have a question for you, right?
yeah,
Um, because there's a lot of people, because I network, I talk to a lot of people. I have, a network but what I'm trying to figure out with you is you have 6 kids.
yeah.
How do you even get the time to do certain things you do? Because that's another thing that's kind of, hurts a lot of people when it comes to business and hurt people when it comes to making money and doing certain things is the time. A lot of people don't have that time to take out to do the legwork. That's why I said social media is important, because doing the legwork, doing all the stuff you get, getting a business model, it's a lot of work. So I'm trying to figure out what you is how. I know you got your husband helping you, but how do you
My
time
husband
manage and figure out how to do certain things that you do when you have all this stuff going on? Like, is there a secret to your secret to how you manage to take care of this, and this when you have to take care of the household? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how I would be able to do it. If I had 6 kids, I don't know
So,
how I'll be able to do what I'm doing right now. There's no way.
um,
There's no way I'll be able to do none of this. I don't. Yeah,
prioritizing, I guess. So the understanding that um, this is a call for me to move forward. This is something that I'm doing in purpose and in alignment with God. So it's non-negotiable for me, right? So what are your non-negotiables? This is non-negotiable for me. I don't care what anybody thinks about it. I don't care what anybody like. Yeah, I care what my husband and yes, I'll have to reschedule if my kids are sick or whatever. I that's fine, but to move in alignment and in my purpose is very important to me. So,
mm,
is that more important than I'm currently sitting in my back room and I need to clean the high chairs because they just ate? What am I doing right now? I'm on a podcast and I'll clean that in a minute.
that's what I'm
And I
saying. Like,
would be going to bed. And so I'm going to push that back and I work off of
no,
like
because
2 hours of sleep, and then I just continue instead of
yeah, I
sitting
don't.
down, I get up and do something instead of taking a nap during the day that I desperately want to do. I make sure that, things are done around the house so that I can do certain
I
things.
remember knowing you, and I mean, you didn't have 6 kids then, but you still had 3 to 4, and you were still able to go do a bunch of stuff. Like, I remember you going out, hanging out. I remember a couple of times you would working at Wawa. You was working. I remember you doing all kind of stuff, and you
I
still.
did a lot of things after so I prioritized a lot of things either after my kids had gone to bed or if they were staying the night with somebody or
Mm,
so like going out usually was after dinner, after all of that, and the kids were either relaxing or they were about to go to bed and I could go out or
yeah,
working. I did
you was out and
a lot of
about.
times I had my kids with me too. If I was like
Mm,
doing like a photo shoot and stuff like that, a lot of times I had them with me in the background.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I mean, you rare. You're a rare breed, because a lot of people can't do a lot of stuff. But you make it happen. But yeah, that's a real feat in itself, because it's hard to be able to do a lot of things when you have, what I'm saying, stuff at home you got to take care of. But yeah, but the thing is, I think, like, getting back to the 90s and this time now, it's a lot of more opportunities now. but you have to put the work in. Like, it's not easy. So
Right.
there's a lot of opportunities for people, for businesses, and for opportunities to do stuff social media wise, get monetized for whatever it is. But you can't be sitting back being lazy, and then you can't. You have to be mature. You have to be able to discipline yourself and be like, all right, I want to do this,
Yep.
but I can't spend and do certain things that I really want to do because I have. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of people that have to kind of prioritize, time manage, and also be able to network, marketing, all of that comes into play. So it's hard now than it was back then.
I use the example of working out. You can't build muscle without working out and eating properly. You have to nourish your body
Yes.
and do the active work towards building the muscle. So it's the same thing in
Yeah.
life. Without doing the work,
Yep.
nothing gets done. And nobody's sitting here and I'm going to say this, and I guess we'll wrap it up because it's been an hour. But knowing the world is misinformed when it comes to manifestation. They think that if you could just believe it as if it's happened, it's going to poof into existence. No, you have to create it into existence. You have to move forward like molding clay. You have to do the work in order to create it into a reality. Otherwise, it's just a dream with no physical form.
Yeah, that's good. I see the kids. They getting anxious. They want your attention. I can hear them in the
How I
background.
get it done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why I'm kind of wondering how was you doing it all these years, because I remember you know what I'm saying, still living your life, doing you and enjoying yourself, even though you had 3, 4, so that's definitely a quality that a lot of people don't have.
I'm not going to pretend like I didn't make some mistakes with my older children, and that there weren't times where I could have slowed down my life outside of them to give them more time with me, especially since they were I was their only main parent around, and it was very important, and it did hurt them, and they have all three expressed that to me. And I own that, and we've healed from that. But I was also a young mom who didn't have the example of a mom on how to be a mom. So they have given me that grace, and they have forgiven me for my mistakes. So I'm not going to pretend like I didn't make mistakes with them, because I absolutely did. And I had to deal with that as they got older in their late teenage years and their early adult life. And I had to give them a safe place to be honest with me when it came to that. Yeah. So that is reality. But I did my best, and they understand.
And you learn from it.
Yeah,
and you learn from it, and that's what it's all about. You ain't keep making the same mistakes. You learn from it now, and you know what to do now with your the youngest ones. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Look, I know you gotta go, because I know. I can hear them. They anxious.
Unless you're about to get a toddler right in the middle of the.
No. Do your thing. Do your thing. And we'll do it next Tuesday again. We'll talk.
Okay. Yay. All right. I'll see you later.